Look at Chris Hemsworth here, and here. If you thought Extraction had good fight scenes, just wait till you see Extraction 2. This movie is 80% action and 20% story, and buried in that action is some of the most technical, entertaining, and impressive fight choreography I've ever seen, and I'll show you exactly why frame by frame. And just like the last movie, there's stuff done in this movie I've never even seen before, which is just what happens when the director's a professional stuntman working in huge action movies for 23 years. You get real martial arts done on an insane level, which is why most of the techniques in this movie can be learned and applied for real-life self-defense. Extraction 2 doesn't dilly-dally with an intro too much, so neither will I. There's multiple pillars to Chris's character in this movie and the fight choreography. And there's one thing that ties everything together by the end that shows exactly why these fight scenes are as good as they are. So it starts in a prison cell where he's trying to extract this family. There's this lady, this girl, and this flippin' geezer. His job is to just get these guys out of the prison, and that's it. Seems simple, right? This lady's his ex-wife's sister, not some random kid. So this time, it's personal. After the events of last movie, he had to do some rehabbing. He had to relearn how to walk.
What's with the shirt? You lose a bet or something?
You like it?
No.
He hung out with chickens, and after 9 months, he got approached by Idris Elba.
How about you put my cup down, hop in your car, and fuck off?
To save his ex-wife's sister. So then he had a training montage over 6 weeks, threw an axe, looked at the axe, and now we're here. They're walking out. Kid drops a toy, and that makes noise, which alerts a prisoner. He then alerts the entire prison, and the alarm system blares. Within 3 seconds of them trying to leave, this kid hit the fan. And I say this kid because in this movie, he's kind of a piece of shit. So everyone's getting rowdy, the alarm's blaring, the mission is blown up pretty much immediately. In this very unfortunate situation, Chris stays on it. This is the first pillar of his character in this movie. He stays focused. There's times in this movie where everything blows up in his face, yet he analyzes, pivots, and attacks it head on. Mentally, this is a huge skill, to not panic and be able to keep going no matter what. He tells them to get in this room. The kid's like, don't push me. Oh my gosh. He gets in a room where everyone's looking at him and he's telling them to back off, but they don't. He kicks at them, shoots one. Since they're going for his gun, I like how he's using it to leverage their whole body to twist them around and make them vulnerable to his kicks. They run at him, but he planted a bomb on the door, so they just blow up. They get down to these coal chutes. The kids get safe, but then their father comes down with a wrench. He charges at Chris and rolls over before attacking him again. This character has really cool spins, super fluid. Also, look at the impact when he charges at him. The gun flies out, his body jerks at the impact. It's almost like you can feel it. It looks so realistic, like he's just BAM! With so much ferocity. He goes for the legs where Chris elbows at his back. This is usually the main thing you can do when someone's below you and your legs are pinned, you're losing balance, etc. Elbowing at the head, bone to bone, very, very painful.
Works better if you're being attacked by a guy with short man syndrome.
Yeah, or if someone's below you. Chris hits him in the back here, and the point is that the elbow is a very strong tool. You can literally feel your elbow right now. It's so hard. That's why I love elbows. Chris rolls out, and look at this move. This just looks really cool. I'm not sure exactly why, but I really like how it looks. That happens a lot in this movie. 2 punches, and he punches under his arm to flip Chris over and slam him down. But immediately, Chris uses that momentum to keep rotating and slamming this guy down. This movie is just so dang fluid. The moves performed are all continuous. It's so cool to watch. This is the next pillar, fluidity. Every move flows into the next one effortlessly. What these characters are experts at is Kazushi, off-balancing your opponent. Feeling and controlling your opponent's balance and capitalizing off of it is hard because it happens in an instant. Kazushi, it's instantaneous. But that's what these guys are doing. It's not raw strength, it's physics. Using their center of gravity and momentum against them.
Thing is, my balance. You gotta feel where the other guy's going, then you use his strength and speed against him, if you got perfect balance.
This part is also a good demonstrator of a fighter meeting their match. Who's in control of the fight is switching constantly, because the skill level is so similar. They also kind of did this in the first movie. Chris is punching him, then he spins and throws Chris down, but then Chris takes control back by moving with the momentum and rolling him over on the ground. I know this is just the first fight scene, but this movie's art. He tries going for the gun, but Chris crawls around and kicks it back. He hits Chris with a rock, throws him into the door frame, and swings a shovel on him. Chris dodged it, and then burns his face on the furnace here, grabs his arm, and here's what I thought he would do. Look, having a grip right here is perfect for a tight joint lock, like a man from nowhere joint lock. Wrist pressed forward and to the left, arm pulled to the left, locks up the whole body. That's what I thought Chris would do, but instead, oh my gosh. The Equalizer did this too, but he just broke his finger or a bone in his hand. Chris gave this dude a permanent peace sign. Then he kills him. Pretty chill scene. They get out to the common yard, and they go through slowly like he did before, holding his gun and telling the crowd to back off. They don't listen, and we finally get to see some gun fu. Watch my last video or my John Wick video for more on gun fu. But the choreography in this scene is arguably cooler than the first movie. This courtyard scene plays out with him using his guns, then knives, then his hands and other melee weapons. So he's shooting everyone, loses his big gun, so brings out his pistol. Bang, 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 bang. Guy comes up to him and he throws him down. In Extraction 1, I was talking about Chris's slams. The throws and slams are even crazier in this movie, and that'll show more as the movie goes on. He loses his gun and starts slicing with his knife. He's only going for the limbs. Why is that? Man from Nowhere did this, and there's two reasons. One, he's killing a bunch of people here, but he's only doing it when it's absolutely necessary. Two, he's slicing the armpit, the forearm, the wrist. All of this obliterates the grip of his opponents. It slices tendons and muscles, so these guys can't grab weapons, grab him or her. They get rendered much more useless. Chris kicks this dude just like the first movie. Absolutely beautiful. Now, kicks flinging people in the air is debatable. Leg sweeps put people down, but sometimes these guys are literally flying. The stronger your kick gets, the better it is at just obliterating people's legs. But with the right technique, you can get better at sweeping. There's two things that help with this. Technique, so dialing in form and practice. Also using your arms just as much as your legs. What do I mean by that? You kick below their center of gravity and also push above it in the opposite way.
I use my arm as I'm coming through, push on his body, and take the leg from under him.
Sometimes Chris just kicks as hard as he can, but here you can see he's yanking the torso back at the same time to get this guy down. And the second thing is strength. Particularly in your butt. It's the biggest muscle in the body and generates the most force for hip flexion. Strengthening your gluteus moves the needle the most when it comes to kicking. Chris gets ran at and hit with a pipe by this big dude. And after stabbing him, he gets the pipe and starts knocking people around. See what's going on here? These stunt people are just going bananas. Like, look at this. At some point, he's basically fending off every single person surrounding him, taking out dudes left and right. What does this look like to you? To me, it's a flow state. Here's a big pillar of Chris's character. His stamina is unlimited. His stamina is unlimited. He literally does not stop. If you've ever wrestled or sparred, or even fought anyone, you know you are using maximum energy output in every single thing you do, because the other guy's doing the exact same. Therefore, you get gassed really easily. Look at how hard he's swinging here. His character is an untapped energy source. Although there's a way to stop him, because after he piped everyone, he got hit in the back of the head with a brick. This took him down for a total of 10 seconds before he got back up. Here's a continuation of his stamina, his resilience. I could say pain tolerance too, but I'd say he's just relentless. Resilient to almost everything. I mean, if you go back to the last movie, he should have died a million times, but he just wouldn't. He takes a shield from an officer and just hits everyone in existence. Imagine getting hit in the back of the head really hard and then doing this. With a literal blinding and throbbing headache. I mean, he was hit in the back of the head with a brick. Concussion at least. By the way, see these officers? They're just getting tossed right now. He catches a Molotov on his shield. His arm's on fire while he's punching this dude. He dodges this dude's punch, picks up his leg, and kicks him in the nuts. Dodging a punch can be subtle or really exaggerated to do another move like done here. It shouldn't really be in between, because then you open yourself up for another attack.
I certainly never ever want to do this because it sets me right up for another punch.
So he dodges the punch by diving to the ground and picking his leg up, making him vulnerable to a boot to the nards. His kick's also angled to the left at the other leg. So he's kicked in the nuts, but also gets his leg taken out from under him so he can catch some sweet airtime. He then takes a dumbbell, puts it in this dude's face, and the courtyard section of this scene is complete. They hop in a car, some cool stuff happens, Chris drops a one-liner.
These bandit are killers.
Yeah, so am I.
Then his car blows up. They go on foot and hop on a train. This train scene is the best in this whole movie. A combination of amazing choreography, crazy visuals, and all combined with the fact that most of it isn't even CGI. On the train, Chris uses a pistol to try to stop this helicopter. Let me know how that went, Chris. I bet it worked. Chris grabs a machine gun and is like, oh, yeah. What an insane visual of this helicopter explosion. There's one more explosion in this movie that tops this, but man, this looks cool. We go over to the Dora lady, who's fighting two dudes. Her fighting looks super fluid and cool too. I know I'm going on about it, but Sam Hargrave is seriously just amazing at combining the camera work with this awesome choreography. Like, look at this spin move here, it's just awesome. This lady does a lot of screaming though. Usually Chris hits a really Australian grunt like, but this lady's just... come on, lady. It's not like you're dying or anything. Anyway, we get back to these three dudes, and this is the best part of this scene to watch. Like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. The best moment in the first movie is where he takes control of two dudes and basically ties them up using their weapons. But that is trumped by most of the fight scenes in this movie, but this specific moment is like that scene but on crack. So here's what he does in the next 30 seconds to take down these three dudes. First, he shoots this guy's helmet and runs at him, knocking him out of the way with his shoulder. Obviously he's running, so he has momentum to hit this guy out of the way, but if he got low and tightened his core, then really pushed inwards and upwards into this guy, he could have fully knocked him over, and then that would have made it a little easier to take him down. Chris grabs his left arm and pushes him into the wall, holding him there while he shoots the guy behind him. This next part is hard to follow. So he has his left hand gripping his left forearm, and as he twists left, he is wrapping the arm over him and twisting it until it can't go anymore. Very similar to what Jason Bourne does. Looking straight on at an extended arm, he's twisting it clockwise, where first the forearm locks up, but if you keep going, the shoulder locks up, which is a joint lock. And he had the grip on his left arm with his armpit holding onto the gun right here, just like in the last movie when he grabs with his armpit. So his whole body twisting left does two things. It locks up his arm like this and disarms him too. Then, since his right arm is free after getting disarmed, he brings his right arm down on the gun to push it out of the way of this guy, to save his comrade. So Chris then pulls his gun back in, twists his body back simultaneously, putting this guy's arm in a cross like when you go down a slide, and then he pushes it. This guy brings his gun up, so Chris grabs it, while this guy still is trying to get control of Chris's gun. Chris is able to knock him off with his knee, then hits the suppressor of his gun into this guy's arm. Something that blunt with that amount of force definitely would make your arm freeze up, especially if it hits on the inside of the arm. It could hit his brachial plexus and shock his arm. The arm right there is a small target. Like, imagine if he whiffed it and the gun went right past the arm. This hit with the suppressor disarms him, which no surprise there. Like I said, a hit to the arm like that would shock your arm and you'd open your grip, which he now uses that gun he was holding to whip back and hit the dude behind him. Now this guy on the left is pulling out a pistol, so when Chris turns back, he rotates his right hand grip on the gun while grabbing the butt of it with his left hand and hitting the guy in the face, which releases that guy's grip on the gun as well as stopping him from shooting Chris. Then Chris whips a final blow on him. Now, this guy who got humiliated 2 seconds ago is back and again grabbing Chris's gun, which he's now able to throw Chris around with because Chris's grip on the gun is more narrow while this guy is holding the ends of the gun. Therefore, he has leverage. He throws him to the floor with his head out of the side of the train. Chris's left hand is pushing him up, but he hits it down. They notice the tunnel upcoming, and holy squirrel moment by this guy. He could have won this interaction had he not gotten distracted at what Chris was looking at. Chris uses that distraction to knock him back with the gun just in time to miss getting tunneled. Just as a side note, I'd like to know how they filmed that exact part, because they're doing it on a real moving train, but obviously this isn't real. I don't know. I'm interested. Anyway, he's up against the wall, same hit with the gun, and actually kicks this dude's arm as he's about to shoot with his pistol. The kick swung Chris around, and he's about to get shot in the head, but then Chris spider senses it and dodges his head to the left, opening him to grab the slide of the gun, bring it up over his head, and simultaneously he knows that he has one arm on his gun, while this guy has two. This guy still has leverage. So in this big motion of grabbing this guy's gun, he also lets go of the trigger on his own gun, pushing his hand up through this guy's armhole and uses the downward momentum he creates to rip the gun out of this guy's hands. Also, this grip with the gun twists this guy's arm into a joint lock as well, with Chris having the pistol as leverage. So guy on the left is disarmed, Chris's left hand is free, and he's got the guy on the right in control with his own gun. What he does as his only option is the best option, which is to punch forward and elbow back. Like I said before, I love the elbow, especially to protect yourself from someone behind you. Then Chris pulls out a pistol, but this guy grabs his hand to stop it. Chris twists it left and shoots his arm, then finishes him off through the neck. What a scene. Seriously, blew my socks off. There's 3 pillars to this scene alone, which was just 30 seconds of art. Pillar 1. Guns are used in it, but barely are they fired. They're used as melee weapons, and guns are used as leverage. Guns are long extensions of the body, with the grip around them basically being the joint to the gun, which Chris leverages to torque the limb, trap them, toss them around, whatever. The premise of this scene is, how can I take control of these guys' entire bodies with just their guns? Which is what I was talking about in the first extraction video. Third pillar is that Chris does multiple things simultaneously. He does this throughout the movie, movie, but especially here. He shoots this guy while dealing with this guy. He hits this guy while disarming this guy. Punch, elbow, locks this guy's wrist up while taking this guy off the grip on his gun. Art. Yeah, so what a great scene. You have to go watch this movie for yourself. It is just so good. There's no flashy cuts, no stupid stunt doubles. It is just pure, raw, unfiltered action. Then Chris goes down to the front and a helicopter almost kills him. He jumps up on top of the train, sees the minigun. Oh, yeah. Just hilarious that he doesn't get shot here, or that the train doesn't off-rail from this helicopter falling in front of it. They reach the end of the tracks, but the train's brakes are broken. So Chris straps everyone in except for himself. Figure it out later, Mike. Did you hear that? Chris is like, nah. You could also watch this movie just to hear the little distinct grunts Chris Hemsworth does throughout it. So everyone's safe. They've been successfully extracted, but then this kid takes a phone and calls his uncle to tell him where they're going. This is why he's a geezer. They end up in this wavy building where the uncle's crew comes to absolutely mess everyone up. A whole bunch of shooting and running and whatever happens, and we get to Chris versus Daniel Bernhardt. If you don't recognize this face, take a good look, and next time you watch an action movie, wait to see him in a cameo. He's a stuntman in so many of them. So they shoot each other through the cars, and Daniel swings an axe at him. Few more swings, and Chris blocks it with his gun. Do you see what I mean from the train scene? How often is Chris shooting a gun versus just using it as another tool for fighting? He hits Daniel with the gun twice, and a new guy comes in and double kicks him in the chest, pulls out his own axe, and there's Chris's reflexes from the first movie. There's three main things that you can see Chris do to have these kind of reflexes. Yes, it's a movie. Yes, it's choreographed. Humor me. Look at his eyes. Look at his face, then look at his body. First of all, reflexes require training and mastery, but this is what that training and mastery leads to. His eyes are analyzing this guy's movements. He sees where he's going to go, and he acts accordingly.
Biggest mistake I see in beginners on why they cannot read their opponents is where their eyes are being placed.
He understands very subtle body movements to predict where he's going to strike. Next, his face, calm as a cucumber, clearly relaxed. He doesn't tense any muscles, he just goes with the flow. He's a little nonchalant even. This is essential. Lastly, his body movements. Subtle. Step back. Whoop. Nope. The knife is small, right? This goes for punches too. Like I was saying before, big movements are slower, you can lose balance, and you get opened up for attack in other areas, so he dodges subtly. And here, I like what he does when he actually fights back. He blocks at the forearm twice, then pulls in the arm to wrap around this guy, pull the pin on his grenade, and throw him over a car. And then we get back inside the building where Chris and the two girls are being cornered to the top of it. They hop in the elevator and the uncle shoots at them. And Chris does this. Look at where that bullet hit. Not a flinch. This is the final pillar of Chris's character. He has zero fear. From the first movie, this scene was just so awesome to watch. Chris is handcuffed, surrounded by heavily armed guys, and this guy puts a gun to his head and pulls the trigger. Not a flinch. Now he says there's no magazine in it. But still, he didn't flinch. He doesn't flinch in this elevator scene either. Zero fear. There's a caveat to this though. In the elevator, over the radio, he says a plan of success, then notes, and we'll get matching shots. Cool. This is a common tactic in dangerous scenarios like this. Even in the military, cracking jokes, anchoring the future, and projecting confidence so everyone can stay focused on the mission, ease their nerves, and get out alive. Then what Chris does is he winks at the little girl and lets the lady know it'll be alright. He's showing he's confident, chill, in a don't worry, I got this, we'll be safe energy. So he stared down the bullet, anchors the future, winks at the girl, and drops some reassurance. Then what does he do? He turns around and starts to panic a little bit. You can see it in his face. This is just like what I said in my taking video. In action, when it's on, it's on. Chris doesn't think, panic, fear. He's just a stone cold killer. Because this is an action movie, but the depth of the character, Tyler Rake, is actually presented subtly, but very well in both of the Extraction movies. So in these in-between moments, when he's forced to think, he keeps a brave face, but he isn't actually fearless on the inside. This is classic to being a strong leader. Never show fear, no matter how much you feel it. So I'll change the pillar name to Fearless on the outside. So they get to the top of the building, booby trap this guy, and the scene delves into Chris Hemsworth, Dora, and her brother all fighting other people. Dora's yelling again and spins this guy onto the ground. He then grabs her gun and takes her down. It cuts to her brother who falls down the stairs. Then Chris Hemsworth who attaches this guy to a workout machine and flings him like this. Notice a theme? Have you noticed a theme across this whole movie? This is the thing that ties everything together, that makes this whole movie. How I think of it is how I feel when I watch this entire movie. What the flip? And by flip, I mean literally. What the flip? This movie has stunt doubles doing the absolute most possible to create the craziest moves, slams, falls, and flips for the camera. Remember, this is Sam Hargrave. Think about the stunts he can do, and therefore the expectations he has for the movies he creates. And yes, there's wiring, padding, and risk minimization, but the stunt doubles are there to perform dangerous stunts. And the point is that this movie's just out of this world by making things look realistic by going as above and beyond as possible. Like how this movie didn't get a theatrical release or more attention is just the second to last fight scene is where most of this stunt heavy stuff happens. Throws, slams. This is the all things judo scene. Dora gets picked up and just, dude. And the guy runs at her and just, bro. Some of the falls that happen in this movie would put anyone down for good. Maybe not every single one would kill them, but most of these would cause some serious injuries. I know I throw the word realistic around as this umbrella term, and in this case it looks realistic because the physics look right, the acting looks right, the theory is there, but obviously it's not realistic in the fact that they recover from these insane stunts pretty quickly. Her brother's in a stairwell and whoop. Lights out, pal. This lady with unique hair disarms him. I'd like to critique this disarm. She just kind of hits it out. When you're disarming like this, you want to get the gun out where grip is the weakest. Not like this. Grip's weak right here, so you twist the gun that way. Anyway, she blocks a punch and genuinely hesitates before hitting a throat chop. Nice. Then throws him at the wall. It goes to Chris where he sees Dora sliding down the glass, so he wraps this guy up and kicks him into this workout machine. Gosh, I mean seriously, what the flip? His face hits it and his body swings around. Just looks awesome. Chris goes up the stairs and puts this dude's face on a running treadmill. Wow. Front flip into glass onto the ground. Again, not real, still cool. Some stupid stuff happens. Then it's Chris versus this guy. They struggle with the pistol, and Chris throws him over his shoulder. Judo. Grappling. Another throw. Judo. The point is, with entering these throws, is look at the emphasis they have on gripping the person's upper body as opposed to their legs tripping them. Again, it's not strength as much as it is physics. Ensuring their upper body is off balance from their center of gravity is how he's able to step over and throw him easily because he gets Chris off balance. Kazushi. Similarly, this guy pulled Dora off balance with her gun to then throw her over. Also, he used the gun to pull her off her center of gravity, using the gun as leverage like Chris does in this whole movie. Anyway, they escape, but Chris goes back to save this geezer. Chris fights this guy for round 2, starting off with palm strike after palm strike after palm strike. Heck yeah. Nice. Your radius bone sticks out at the wrist right here. Very hard, very painful. Palm strike. Chris throws him through this wooden thing. Then he picks up a wooden box of nails and hits Chris in the head with it. Dude, I do not care. That would be way too painful. I'm not joking. That right there makes my scalp buzz a little. Just watching that happen is like, ugh, jeez. There's absolutely no way Chris recovers like he does. Brain bleeds, concussions, CTE. I mean, this is why you want to learn how to fight, so you can avoid serious injuries like this. A, you raise your pain tolerance. B, you can end fights quicker because you can handle yourself. And C, you avoid more fights because you know how to fight. If you know how to fight, you'll rarely get into fights. Then Chris gets hit with this metal thing multiple times, and then he throws this guy through the wooden thing again. Goodness gracious. Man, what a movie. All the choreography, the cinematography, mwah. Extraction 3 is supposed to come out at some point too. Best believe I'll be on that immediately. But the 2 Extraction movies are honestly underrated. Many have never even heard of them, even though they're so good. Here's a couple things I learned while making this video. For context, I love Matt Damon. Why else would my first video on this channel be Born Identity? Because I love those movies, and they made me really like Matt Damon. Anyway, it turns out Chris Hemsworth and Matt Damon are pretty close friends, and I guess Ed Sheeran. So that's pretty cool, something I found kind of interesting. Also, here's a gif of Robert Downey Jr. that looks like Chris Hemsworth. Anyway, amazing movie, amazing fight scenes. New video soon. Peace.